Hey guys, it's Noble. I really wanted to come on here real quick just to say, hey, there is some spoilers for all companions in the main story. I also was not ranking the female non-romanceable companions. This is romances only, so I want you guys just to be clear, because that's why Scorpio and some other companions aren't in it, but they will be covered in later videos. So, thanks guys. Have fun. So this totally isn't one of the most requested videos on the channel, but guys, do not fear, it's finally coming to you guys, the companion tier list. For the sake of time, we are not going to go over all companions in the game. We are going to break it up into a couple videos as I listed in my community tab. We will be doing the female companion list here, then we will be doing the male companion list, and then expansion companion contacts. So it's going to be a little bit of a series, but I hope you enjoy this. For reference for how I am going to be ranking them, it's going to be a mixture of things, one of those being how fun they are to be around in game, in the world, and how they interact with everything, and then what's mostly going to be weighted here is the romance option and how good that story is and how much it ties into your main class quest. So that is how I'm going to be ranking these moving forward. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in to worst to first, best companions, best female companions in all of Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Wow, you showed remarkable restraint with him.
We're moving on. Keep up.
Starting off at the worst, in my opinion, which is fact, I'm kidding, is ASHARA ZAVROS coming in here at 11. And honestly guys, this is one of the newer romances that I had redone and re-listened to just to be sure. I was a little uneasy about making her dead last, but there is a reason for it and I'll get to it in just a second. But overall, hanging out with ASHARA as you level up your character is pretty cool. It's fun, nothing to really write home about at all. I will say I like her voice. Her voice is nice. It's kind of, pleasant in most areas. It can get annoying sometimes, but it is pretty nice. It doesn't annoy the hell out of me. But unfortunately, what really brings down ASHARA as a companion in this list is the overall romance. It starts off strong, and if you are the first time, playthrough, then you don't want to watch this video because I'm going to be spoiling it for you. But essentially, at the end of the romance, she isn't really going to marry you, which, come on, after all this, I want that ring, you know what I'm saying? And, yeah, she's like, we can't get married, you're Jedi, you're Sith, I'm Jedi, and it's just not going to work, but we can somehow be forever lovers or something. I don't know. It's just weird, and there wasn't a good enough payoff. I get it. She was once a former Jedi, and she is kind of a gray-ish Jedi now that helps the Sith, and it just didn't land with me at all. It was actually really annoying the first time I played it so many years ago, and I still hold that feeling, and that's honestly why she is the last ranked on this list. But overall, she is a fun companion to have now, and yeah, but that's where I rank her.
Then they're our kind of Jedi.
The main Jedi Council will never deal with the Sith unless...
Number 10, guys, on this list is AKAAVI SPAR. This really shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. AKAAVI, outside of ASHARA just, not being able to, not being able to actually marry her, with AKAAVI SPAR, it's almost the exact same, but a little different. You can marry AKAAVI. She is Mandalorian, and one of the greatest things about AKAAVI is all of the Mandalorian lore and history that gets baked into the romance. She is very much tried and true Mandalorian, and she just wants to live by the creed and is willing to die for it, which is, pretty admirable and very nice. Her interactions in game are just kind of mid, very stern, and that's also one of the negatives. She just doesn't come across as a really good companion as far as romance goes. Sure, you can marry AKAAVI, but it doesn't really feel like a relationship during the whole time. I get it, it's Mandalorian, so it's going to be a little bit more strict and not so much, lovey-dovey, and that's not really what I'm referring to. It just seemed not natural. And for being on the smuggler storyline, like, I guess it kind of makes sense, but she would have fit better if she was on the bounty hunter story. That would have been a little bit more believable, and I think it would have made the relationship dynamic a little better. But she comes in at number 10 for just honestly not a very good romance overall. Very bland, very boring.
Did all those people deserve to die?
They had no honor. The smart ones ran and survived. The foolish ones are fertilizing Hada.
Number 9 on this list, guys, is Nadia Grell. Now, I'm sure some of you, just from reading comments of the romance videos over the years, you probably could put her at 11 or 10 if you really wanted to, but the reason why I ranked her at 9 is because she kind of comes into her own towards the end of the romance, like when you have the marrying option, because she kind of is this naive kid who's afraid to use her powers almost, similarly to JAESA, who we'll get to a little later, but in the end, she ends up balancing out to be a really nice Jedi and a pretty good companion. There were parts of this romance and story where I was like, all right, Nadia, calm down, you don't have to be this like goody two-shoes, like heal people this, heal people that. That got a little annoying, and some of the voice lines as she interacts with characters throughout the game, not just the cutscenes, but in the world when you're fighting enemies, a little bit mid, but it does have redeeming qualities. I enjoyed this one, honestly, not until like halfway through. It started to get good, you know, towards the end, and I feel like if you just give Nadia a chance, she can grow on you. So Nadia gets number 9 for this spot. I think she honestly had a lot more to offer as a character, and it's kind of sad she kind of got pigeonholed in the counselor storyline. So it kind of gets expanded on a little bit in OSIS and all that when you have the reunion, but it's fine, it's all good. Happy to have her here at 9.
The training's helped me be honest with myself.
I'm not going back. I'll be their representative. But too much has happened for me to just settle there again. And I'm...
Next up on the list, guys, number 8 is KALIYO JANNIS. Now, she could be a little bit higher on the list, but we will get into that here soon. KALIYO is the Imperial agent, main romance for male, and it is probably one of the more roller coastery relationships ever. She has hilarious voice lines when you go into new cities or when you're killing mobs in the world. Like, she just has overall solid voice lines and can kind of make you chuckle a little bit. This relationship and romance, I would kind of describe it as like not a coming of age, but like she's really trying to learn what it's like to kind of be with someone that wasn't gonna, like, you know, screw her over like in a bad way, you know what I mean? So like her learning how to express feelings for the agent was interesting. It was an interesting storyline, like from a development angle, and she does come around a little bit, but she's still rough around the edges. But it definitely was exciting, and she's one of the few companions who actually have side quests that you get to go on and explore, and depending on how you deal with those situations will tend to whether she will like you more or like you less. So there is an added benefit to that, which makes her story a lot more fleshed out. But overall, I just was never into her as a companion. She just annoyed me with how, I don't know, rough she can be. It's just, it didn't really go well with me. So that's why she's sitting here at number 8.
Hey, eyes on me. You want to tell me what you were thinking looking for me? Hiring investigators, bribing dock managers?
Number 7, rounding out halfway through the list here, we have Ensign RAINA Temple. This one, I think she fits at 7. I don't think I could put her lower, and I couldn't put her higher. And the main reason why this is because you don't get her until Hoth in the Imperial Agent storyline, right? You don't get her until a lot later. And it doesn't really give you a lot of time to spend with her throughout your adventures, since you're getting her basically towards the end of Act 3, well, end of Act 2 technically. So it's just one of those things where you need to kind of pace yourself a bit. I do like the spy and spy romance. Like, that's essentially what this is with the Imperial Agent. She has a pretty crazy conflict with her father, you know, being a traitor, And, I mean, dude, she freaking executed her own dad. Like, that's pretty cold, you know what I mean? So there's something to be said there. And the fact that it's a part of the Imperial agent, like I said, it makes it all the more interesting because she's a covert operative and she is trying to be a good Imperial spy now that she's a part of your little band of spies. So it is compelling. And I gotta say, I love RAINA's voice, and especially with what customization. If I can find a picture of it, I'll put it on the screen for you. But that's one of my favorite customizations, and she sounds so good. I could listen to her talk for a while.
Yes, but there isn't any other choice. I won't be gone long. Besides, if I don't do something, your security could be compromised.
Coming in, guys, at number 6, we have JAESA WILLSAAM. Everyone's favorite, like, evil, dark side sex freak. That is JAESA WILLSAAM. Now, this is a unique companion because you have a light side romance option with her, which I know technically you have light side romances with some other dark side characters, but they don't really go anywhere. Same for this one. So this one kind of puts her at 6 for this reason. She has a really fun romance if you are dark side. Going through and turning a pupil of the Jedi into a deranged, like, Jedi killer is actually pretty cool. And her bloodlust and how that ties into all the Sith lore and her just like going ape shit on some people is actually really fun and makes the romance kind of like this, just to be honest, it's like a weird, kinky, evil thing. They're like, oh, they'll bathe in our blood, and she's like, oh my god, like, fuck me. Like, she's all about that, which is hilarious. So that's why I'm putting her at 6. I will say the light side version of this has a weird as hell voice line in it, okay? It's right at the end. I'm gonna play it because it's so cringy. It's weird. So I'm gonna play it right now.
To impart my gifts on your future offspring and followers, you can count on me.
It would make great sense for us to procreate. Our offspring would have great advantages.
I see the logic, Master, and it would be my honor.
How freaking weird is that, yo? Like, what? Like, we should procreate. Blah. Like, oh my god. I forgot about that, and I almost lost my shit. Like, it was insane. So, JAESA gets 6. I will say, again, since her story is literally integral, same for ASHARA, honestly, to the story. Like, you get her as a companion, but it's also part of the story that you can't really get out of. Like, that is your whole mission in Act 1 or towards the end of Act 1 is to get JAESA and convert her or kill her, and so on and so forth. So that is why she stays here at 6, but it was nice having her intertwined with the main story because you couldn't really escape JAESA. And I feel like if you went light side Sith warrior, like, what are you doing? Like, you're weird. Like, I'm just not even, I can't even take you seriously if you went light side warrior, but it's okay, it's just my opinion.
Vaguely recall an Imperial soldier. I think he and I got to know each other. Either that or I might have killed him. Or both, maybe. It's fuzzy.
Alright guys, top 5, here we go. I am putting RISHA at number 5, and I'm sure a lot of you would have her a little lower. She is, in my opinion, the main love interest for the smuggler, and I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised when I went back and redid this romance. It was very, very good. Like, it is the epitome, like, female Han Solo vibes. And not in all the annoying parts about Han Solo. Like, she's cunning, like Han Solo, but also has a little bit more to her that Han Solo never had. And she has to really make some funny choices. And lore plays a part into why she's so high on this list, because if you play the Imperial Agent storyline, you will get to see her father, and her father is also prevalent in her romance, and she also has some more off-screen missions that she has to go on, and she brings up Dubrillion, which is a planet that you don't really get to hear about that much, and I like that about her. But she has a good romance option. She's funny, she's quirky, she's all about the money, she's all about retaining power, and at the end of the day, as the smuggler, you're kind of like, hey, I just want to, you know, marry a fucking queen or princess or whatever. Like the heir to Dubrillion is nice. Her interacting with the nobles is kind of funny, and it kind of sheds a little bit of a light on what like the older public politics were like, and how Risha was just like, yeah, y'all are freaking weird. We're doing this my way, and we're gonna bring order back to Debrillion. And it was nice to be on that journey with her, honestly. And my God, there's a lot I could say about Risha, but we still have 4 more companions to go. But I really enjoyed Risha as a companion for the Republic side, and there just wasn't a better spot to put her. Definitely could not put her ahead, and I feel like putting her at 6, it could have been possible, but I chose to go with 5, and I think that's a good spot for her.
Hey, the Count has his hands full just staying alive. But even with all that's happened, he still wants to marry me. I can't keep putting him off. Any advice how I should play this?
Number 4, we have arguably a lot of people's favorite companion in the Twi'lek Vette. Now, I love Vette for a couple reasons. One, she is an integral part to the storyline in the very beginning. You get her right at the beginning. You finish Korriban, she becomes your first companion, and essentially, if you go, like, the only way I can justify going light side warrior is if you are romancing Vette. Vette's a sweet girl, okay? I'm just gonna be honest. She's sweet. She really is just trying to have life go her way for once, and it's a pleasant story to go through, just to see her progression from being a scared slave to now being a part of one of the greatest like Sith Lords of all time, being your character, and having that romance option, and her companion story where you go and free her sister and, you know, go see her mother. Unfortunately, it's too late. She's already dead at that point. And it just is a heartwarming romance with Vette. That's why she gets number 4.
Still, I love you. And that has to count for something.
All right, guys, top 3. Here we go. Elora Dorne takes the number 3 spot, takes the bronze medal. And I absolutely love Elora Dorne. I literally have a video of me, you know, saying how much I love Elora. So check that out if you want. But this storyline is for the trooper, okay? And even though she is so about protocol, similarly to ASHARA all the way back at 11, she really comes around. She was an Imperial defector that joined the Republic and spent the majority of her career just really getting shafted, essentially, because she was a former Imperial. She was always being questioned, and you as the trooper give her a way to kind of just to be like, hey, Elora, like I see you, like I know you're not still with the Empire, I know you are a Republic citizen, and she really tries hard. And honestly, like her being that way was attractive to me, not gonna lie. And that accent, oh my God, that's so hot. Anyway, that's why Elora gets number 3. She has a really good story too, especially with her brother, you know, wanting to defect, and her own CO, like, not really, you know, being on her side, and you being her new commanding officer and having her back, you know, really kind of makes everything come together nicely. And a lot of stakes. It feels like the stakes are high for this romance, even though, you know, it's scripted. There still are high stakes. You never really know like how she's going to react, but I really did enjoy, you know, going from the soldier who really followed orders because that's all she knew as an Imperial to someone who, you know, really comes to be a part of a team. Like I think that's awesome, and I hope a lot of you guys get to play through that.
I want you to be a part of my life, no matter what may come. I want to be with you forever.
Marry me, Elora. We'll face the future together.
You mean it? Oh, yes!
Number 2, guys, the silver medal. That's right, we have Mako. Now, my bias, I tried not to let it get in the way. I would have put her at number 1 if I could, but I couldn't really do that justice. But she is, in my opinion, if not the best, the second best romance option in this game. Her personal side companion quest is, in my opinion, one of the most elaborate stories since the Imperial Agent, you know, main story. If you haven't done the Mako romance, I highly suggest you go do it. I'll spoil a little bit here. She ends up being someone we don't expect, or something of someone that we don't expect. And it is a really cool thing. I remember being floored when I played through this the first time back in 2012, 2011, and I was like, oh my gosh, really, Mako? Like, that's insane. And I think I like her so much because this was the first companion romance I ever did, so I have a lot of nostalgia for Mako, but I really think her story, being a part of the bounty hunter, is so well fleshed out. She is your everyday person trying to make her way through the universe, like Jango Fett, right? And it really shows as you progress the story with her. Lightside Bounty Hunter is honestly probably my favorite of all the Imperial light sides that you can go. I think there's a lot of good there that can happen, and it's a little bit more honorable and falls more in line with the Mandalorians, in my opinion, at least the honor-bound ones. So I don't mind going light side here for the bounty hunter, not at all. So that is something to consider here, but go do the Mako romance if you haven't. One of my favorites, hands down.
A lot like mine.
I followed you up to poking. Everything after that could have been in Huttese.
My family's records. It's gotta be. Parents, siblings, maybe grandparents, who knows what else.
And coming in, gold medal number 1, everyone, Kira Carsen of the Jedi Knight. Now, I'm gonna sound like a super based red pillar, which I kinda am. She is like the embodiment of the ideal woman, in my opinion, okay? She is a little out there. She was raised a Sith, ended up, becoming a Jedi, being found by Master Kawix, and she just embodies a female Jedi perfectly, in my opinion, especially through the romance. And again, her story is essentially really wrapped up into the first act of the Jedi Knight, similarly to the Sith Warrior, because they are mirrors of each other, but this plays out so much better. The payoff for Kira is better than any other companion in the entire game, in my opinion, because you defeat Darth Angral, the Emperor and everyone tries to bring her back, and she spends the entire story trying to make sure she never goes back to the Sith or gives in to the dark side. And even into some of the expansion content, she becomes a big part in defeating, spoilers, the Emperors, Vitiate, Valkorion, Tenebrae, all of them. She plays a key role in the dismantling of the Emperor. And I think that should, not be taken lightly. Her conversations that you have with her are some of the most kind of deep but also laid back conversations ever. This romance feels the most real to me anyway. It feels the most pure as well. That sounds weird as hell, but it really does feel that way. So if you haven't played Kira Carsen, that romance, you have to do it. It's so nice and it's so refreshing at the end. Payoff is great. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and that's probably a romance I could probably replay over and over and over again, but I don't really play a lot of Jedi Knights, so I think I only have 8 or 9 of them, so I haven't done it as much as the other ones, but it is one of my favorites. And I would say Mako and Kira Carsen are tied for me number 1, and then ELARA would be number 2, so that's essentially my top 3 companion romances. But there is so much fun, so many fun dialogue moments with Kira, not just in the cinematics, but just the gameplay and how she interacts with enemies and things. It's good, it's fun, so.
What do you know? The galaxy didn't end.
We'll try harder next time. To be continued, tough guy.
That, guys, will wrap it up for the female companion tier list. Let me know if you agreed or disagreed, or how you would order the companions via romance. That would be awesome. Let me know in the comment section, guys. I would love to hear about it and read all of you guys' what you have to say, because maybe we can do more of these in different ways, and I want to, shout out comments in the next video for from the ones that were here. So be sure to leave your comments. Let me know what you guys think. But guys, that's going to be it. The ultimate tier list for female companions of Star Wars: The Old Republic. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace!